second element of the terrorist attack plan occurred an hour and 40 minutes after the first explosion, when the terrorist remotely detonated a small radiological dispersion device on the motor vessel Foster. The intention was apparently twofold. First, the nature of the weapon would create problems in using Port Hueneme for some time. And second, they could allow first responders to the chlorine explosion into the area before detonating the RDD, thereby creating a secondary explosive device effect.
Just in, CNN's Los Angeles Center is reporting that 2 explosions have occurred at Port Hueneme, California. We understand that the first may have been a chemical explosion, and CNN is trying to ascertain the cause of the second, though the area has been closed off to the media. Joining us live from Ventura County Fire Department is Battalion Chief Ranger Dorn. Chief Dorn, can you tell us what's happening at Port Hueneme?
Units from the Ventura County Fire Department, as well as the Ventura County Regional Hazmat Team, responded to a report of an explosion and found a large chlorine leak when they arrived in the area.
Do you know what the causes of these 2 explosions are, or is it simply too early to tell?
We have no information at this time as to whether there were 2 explosions and their causes. Law enforcement responders will determine the cause of the explosions.
Do you have any estimate of the casualties affected by these explosions?
We are currently responding to people having problems from the chlorine, but it is too early to have an estimate as to the number of casualties.
While there was still no confirmation that either of the events in the harbor were the results of an act of terrorism, the Unified Command members prudently planned future action on the high probability that Port Hueneme had been attacked by terrorists and were still present in the harbor area. The planning for boarding Foster required a law enforcement clearance operation prior to rescue and medical teams being allowed on board. The Sheriff's Tactical Response Team secured the north end of Wharf 3 around the warehouse area, and SWAT teams began clearance of the warehouse. Coordination was required between law enforcement and the Navy Force Protection personnel around USS Thatch. With perimeter security in place, a dynamic entry on the MV Foster by additional LE personnel from Ventura County Sheriff's Department and Oxnard Police Department SWAT teams was made. An FBI dive team was also assigned to clear the hull of MV Foster. Both SWAT teams staged momentarily on the quarterdeck and then commenced to move aft. Almost immediately, the lead SWAT team tripped a booby trap, the resulting explosion killing 3 members of the sheriff's team. It was now obvious that the explosion on the Foster had been the result of a terrorist attack, and that during the setup, the terrorist had also set up several booby traps as secondary devices.
Sarge, 3 dead, 1 wounded. Wounded, we're gonna walk off.
The remaining SWAT teams continued to the fantail of the MV Foster and discovered a booby trap rigged to a hatchway door. Soon after, the bomb technicians arrived on scene and disarmed the device. Once the device was disarmed, the SWAT teams climbed a portside ladder from the fantail to the flight deck and cleared the flight deck area.
That we have cesium-137 mixed with a cobalt powder, which is the makings for a dirty bomb.
As a result of their searches, the bomb squad advised that radiation has been confirmed on Foster and that all personnel on board would need to be decontaminated.
I don't have any odor off of it.
The SWAT teams now moved into the interior of the ship and encountered several more secondary devices in the darkened spaces, killing 4 more officers and wounding 2 others.
This is an opportunity to turn this over to the FBI. The President has declared this a terrorist attack on the government, and as such, the FBI is the lead investigative and resource agency for this event.
Concurrently with the onboard search, the FBI placed divers in the water on a counterterrorism preventative hull sweep of MV Foster.
Vessel, report back. You have your captain come on board channel 65, bridge.
The dive team found an improvised explosive device on the hull, and teams on board were immediately evacuated from the vessel. To minimize the damage to the vessel and allow effort to recommence on board Foster, the compartments around the explosive were sealed and flooded, and then the mine was remotely detonated.
Preliminary test of a letter opened today in the offices of California State Senator Tom McClintock showed traces of anthrax bacteria, bringing the threat of bioterrorism to California's capital. Reporting live from the state capitol on this breaking news story is our CNN reporter, Deborah Wellington. Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning, Wolf.
So what can you tell us?
As you come through decon, you're going to come into this area over here, and I will be under Baker. Baker will be monitoring for radiological on that first before they make entry into the decon.
Elements of VC hazmat units and the 9th CST begin preparation to search MV Foster for injured personnel. In parallel, the FBI and Oxnard Police were assigned the mission of clearing the warehouse building and determining the status of the Tropical Independence.